Yeah. So the other semi-final, Wales, South Africa. I think that's on a Sunday, is it? Yeah, so it's a Sunday morning. Yeah, of course it is. I got a few pelters last week. So don't mess with your mount, and then put it on YouTube, and then you try and interact with some of the comments. I'm getting trolled to the cowsheds and back. People ain't happy. Now, I think the people that weren't happy were the people in Wales, because I thought France were going to beat them and beat them comfortably. France were my wild card before the World Cup started, and for large parts of it, they looked very good until, as we know, there was a very high-profile, uncontroversial red card, and Sebastian Mahina got sent off for elbowing Aaron Wainwright, and that was it. But still, France still could have won. They put 7 in the scrum on their own try line. What are you thinking? Maydar kicks the ball out dead. They don't go for a drop goal. France still should have won that game, even with 14 men. Now, that shows you, I think, reluctantly to say, that I don't think Wales are going to beat South Africa. Gatland said the best team lost last week. I believe that. Wales, and I'll come on to some positives about Wales, but Wales, apart from the Australia game for 60 minutes, looked very good. They could have got beat by Fiji. They got absolutely hosed. Uruguay, they struggled, and they shouldn't have beaten France at the weekend, but they did. Now, this is the thing with Wales, the resilience that they can show, and they have, and what Gatland does. Gatland is a phenomenal coach. You know, look what he's done for Wales. You know, look what he did for the British and Irish Lions when everyone said they were going to get beat 3-0 down in New Zealand. The pressure he was under going home to New Zealand and coming out with a draw, and arguably could have taken the series. And look what he's done with Wales. When they're dead and buried, they ain't. They ain't dead and buried. They've just got something inside them that no other team has, I don't think. A resilience, a kind of edge to them that says, we ain't lying down. Now, the way that they beat France at the weekend shows that, but they are up against a formidable team in South Africa who haven't really had much of a tough game since the first game against New Zealand. They have had tough games. They had a tough game against Japan, but in terms of their quality, they've not been tested yet. And no disrespect to Japan, how good were they, by the way, in the World Cup? It was amazing to see, and up until half-time, it looked scary. It was a nervous half-time team talk, as Rassie Erasmus said. But they've just, in my opinion, got too much physicality. You know, the news out of South Africa, as we know, team's been announced, is that Cheslin Colby is not going to be fit. And my Pimpy on the wing has been probably just slightly shaded them two. My Pimpy's been amazing. Cheslin Colby, as we know, is a world-class player. And Sabusio Nkosi comes in. I think I've pronounced his first name right. Nkosi comes in to replace him. You know, that's a big thing, because Cheslin Colby has been a star of the World Cup with my Pimpy, with Matsushima on the wing for Japan. But I just think with Faf de Klerk, he got man of the match at the weekend. You know, Peter Steph de Toy, Etzebeth, Yegdelude, Mbambi, hooker with Malcolm Marks to come on. I mean, the beast, you know, arguably should have been sent off last week, but he didn't. Delande in the centre, you know, I think if South Africa do have a weakness, it's potentially at 15 with Willie LaRue, who's not playing that well. But I just can't see the physicality that South Africa got and how difficult it's been in this World Cup for Wales to get where they've got to. I'd be gobsmacked if Wales lost, if Wales beat South Africa and South Africa lost. Yeah. What do you reckon?
So I want to call you out or bring back something that you said on the pod, which I don't think has yet happened, where you said Wales have at least one big game in them, which I suppose they had a big game against Australia, but I don't think they fully, you know, hit their top level, which I reckon they could pull out the bag this weekend.
Yeah, you're true. I think we've spoken about on the podcast that I do with Andy Good, and that Wales have a big performance. You mentioned it. I just don't know. I think you said, I think the Australia game was their big performance. And again, I know the people in Wales are hating on me. I've read it. You've been trolling me. I think you're from Wales anyway. Send me location. I just think it's too. I just think they're done.
Yeah.
and they've been fantastic. They've been amazing. And I would love to see an England-Wales final. I'd love to see it. I just think that it's one step too far. It really is. You know, Jonathan Davis will make a big difference if he's fit. The Wales team hasn't been announced yet. We mentioned the South Africa one then. I think it's going to be comfortable for South Africa.
Yeah, I do.
I really do. South Africa by... I've said 8 earlier in the week. I did say 10. I'm going to go South Africa by 10. Yeah. But please, Wales, I want to see you do it. I did pick South Africa as the team to win the World Cup at the start. That's who I thought would win it. I'm a little bit unsure now with how good New Zealand have been and how good England have been. But 2 unbelievable semi-finals. Unfortunately, I'm going with the narrative. I'm going with New Zealand, South Africa in the final, which everyone thought about in the lead-up. I'll reiterate, I would love to see England. I'd love to see Wales in the final. But it's going to be absolutely epic.